Maddie, you hold that for Papa? That way. Go over there. Over here. Alright, hold it up. Put your hand under it. Right there. You hold that up. Okay? Don't let it fall down. You got it? Uh-huh. You're a big helper for Papa. Big helper, you got it? Big girl. Push it up there. Thank you. You got some screws? Oh yeah. You put them in there? There they go.
She sure told you.
It's so unnecessary dwelling about the past, 'cause I know that God is good, He led me to where I'm at. Sometimes I feel like giving up, you're giving in, but everything happens for a reason. It won't always be blue skies ahead. Sometimes you might need a helping hand, just like iron sharpens iron, making me stronger, calling me higher. When we come together, just like iron sharpens iron, making us stronger, calling us higher. When we're helping each other, we're growing together. It's so unnecessary worrying about life. I might not have it all, but I know I'll be alright. He's gonna challenge me to be the best I can be, and to give back to those who need it. It won't always be blue skies ahead. Sometimes you might need a helping hand, just like iron sharpens iron, making me stronger, calling me higher. When we come together, just like iron sharpens iron, making us stronger, calling us higher. When we're helping each other, we're growing together. Iron sharpening iron, making me stronger, calling me higher, calling us higher. Sharpening iron, calling me higher. Just like iron sharpens iron, making me stronger, calling me higher. When we come together, just like iron sharpens iron, making us stronger, calling us higher. When we're helping each other, we're coming together.
Okay. Gotta look like big man. There we go. Where's your big man face? You're a fat guy? I meant strong guy, not fat guy. Fat guy works too. Right? are working in the house here, and I thought I'd better give you at least an idea of what it is we're doing. We've done this once before, and honestly, when Anneesa first approached me with the idea, I was like, that is not going to look good at all. She usually comes up with all the ideas, the designs, and then I put it all into action. And a lot of times she finds me a picture or something that I can go by. I'm like, oh, okay. So the concrete countertop is what we're doing now. And honestly, the first time I heard that, as many of you probably are hearing for the first time, it sounds ridiculous. But it looks beautiful. If you don't believe me, check out past videos where we've done the exact same thing in our last house. Reasons for doing it: it's cheap, it looks nice, and you can do it yourself. Quality countertops cost a lot of money. You can buy particle board countertops, melamine on the top, in Canada at least, reasonably priced, but they still only last so long and it still costs a lot of money. And we had the concrete, we wanted to try something new. Here I have not seen any countertops that we actually like. To us they all kind of look plasticky and they got this European look to them that we're not really fond of. And we like the concrete countertop, so it's just another reason why we're going to do it. Now this is by far the largest one I've ever done. Give you an idea, this is going to be our island, and so this will be all concrete. That's going to be concrete. This will be all concrete. Yes? And so there's a lot to it. This is the actual size of the thing. So I've brought my wood only yay far, and this dips down. So when these forms come off, this wood will be gone and this wood will be gone. This stays as the top of our cupboards. But it will then be full width, and you don't have to look at the wood. That's why it's got a drop down to it, if you can see that. So it's a matter now of making all these corners look. We want these rounded, so when the kids come along, they don't bang their head on a square edge. It's nicer to bang your head on a round edge. Got to figure it out at the post here yet, how exactly that's going to work. This one I just took off from the other cupboards so it's formed all the way around, not a big deal. Here I've taped along the walls to make sure that none of the concrete slips down behind. There's just a few small gaps, we don't want to make a big mess. So that's all good. And then the sink. The last time what we did is poured everything and then dropped the sink in after, which is a lot easier because you don't have to be as perfect with your hole. But we didn't like that. And I've seen a lot of people's granite countertops where the sink is mounted from the bottom, and that's what we're going to try here right now. So I imagine the comments are just going to light up on how this is a terrible idea and it's not going to work. You know what? Everything works, and it's just a matter of how you do it. The idea here, I've got this tape wrapped up. I'm using it as a water dam. So my concrete's going to end up being about yay high. And there's a possibility of water just kind of splashing here and seeping through. And the idea is that this tape is going to cause a dam. It's a secondary line of defense. I'm going to caulk between the concrete and this after, but this will be a secondary line of defense built into the concrete. Concrete will be right around this. And any water that happens to wick through here will hit that and stop and not be able to make it any farther. That's the goal. I don't know what else to tell you. I'm going to drill this out yet first. We'll put a piece of pipe through so when we pour concrete we don't have to drill it out later. We have got all these little spacers we've cut. This is what's going to hold up our rebar mesh. It's important to put that through here because apparently it's a good gaming board too. It's important to put that through here because especially on this piece it overhangs quite a bit. There will be another cupboard coming to about here-ish, and the rest will stay overhanging. So we'll build some brackets in there, but there's still a chance of it flexing a little bit, and we don't want that. So this will allow us to make it more sturdy. But even over here where there's no flexing, we're still going to throw concrete or throw a mesh through it to help hold it all together, like a rebar basically. I don't really know what else to tell you. The edges, we're going to try to finish it. We may end up chipping it off on purpose to give it a different look. More of a natural stone look almost. And then we'll be epoxying it. That's the last step. The concrete itself wouldn't be that great. You're going to want to put an epoxy finish over top. So we will get it all troweled smooth and let it dry out and cure for a few days, and then we will be pouring epoxy over top of it all. And that's where it really looks just, you get the lights from here shining down onto this countertop. It shines beautiful. You'll have to wait and see because it's going to take a little while before that video comes out. I think that's it. What are you working on now? These guys? So we've cut these hopefully we can get them smooth enough. They're going to go into the corners here to give us a rounded corner. One for this corner, and then one here, and one on the far side. This one doesn't need it, and these ones don't need it because they are beside the stove. Here we've also rounded it. Just kind of rounded a little bit. Doesn't matter here, you're not banging your head. Yeah, I don't think there's anything else I can tell you. I don't think I'm going to get it done tonight. It's getting late already. But we're going to get everything ready to go and then probably pour it all tomorrow. Good morning, everyone. Just went outside to go get something just off the deck. And it's a snowy world. We got a wee bit more snow yesterday. Again, still not a lot. Just talking to my mother-in-law, and they had, I think if I remember the text correctly, they had 1.5 feet, so like, I don't know, 45 centimeters of snow melt the other day, and they still have more snow. And it rained for 2 days. And so anyway, it disappeared that much. We only have, I don't know, I told her 3 inches, but we might have 4 now. Hey, kitty. Good morning, kitty. Anyway, gotta get some mesh here for the concrete.
Oh, boys.
So, mommy? Hey, there. Okay, countertop is drying. We did not get it all done because it took a lot more than I thought. And the last times that we've done it, we used Sacrete. It's bagged concrete, ready to go. You just add water. It's got the Portland cement, sand, and gravel all mixed together. And that's what we're pretty familiar with using over there. Now, I had that bought for another job. I had some leftover bags. We mixed it up and we threw it in for the countertop. Worked great. This time, I haven't been able to find that here. I can only find what I would call the Portland cement, the cement powder itself, and then you buy sand and gravel separately and you mix it yourself, which works as well. I'm familiar with doing that for masonry stuff, but not for pouring any kind of concrete. So, hopefully we got the measurements right. It's written on the bag, it's not too hard to follow, but I didn't have any gravel, so we just did exclusively sand, nothing else. And there can be problems with that because sometimes it ends up shrinking a lot when it dries and then you get cracks. In our case, we're covering it all with epoxy anyway, so it doesn't really matter. Those cracks will just add character. Hopefully it doesn't crack too bad. Worst case, we throw it all out and we start all over. But that's not going to be a lot of fun. It was pretty stressful putting it all in because the water, with so much sand in there, the sand settles and all the water comes to the top. So all of a sudden we're faced with just a pile of water everywhere. It was leaking over the farms, making a mess of the floors. The cupboards are made of particle board, so they cannot get excessively wet. And so, you know, it was a kind of a panic. So we missed a lot of the footage of filming. We also had somebody show up, a fan from YouTube showed up in the middle of it all. And so we kind of had to talk with him at the same time as working on this. And anyway, I'll show you what it looks like now. So this is our concrete slab. And it does have some different characters in it. Here you can see a darker spot here, there's a darker spot there. Things like that. I don't know if I can give you some light on that. That didn't really help any. You can see spots where the aggregate is more exposed, and you're going to have spots where it is less exposed, but there's still color contrasts in it. And as it continues to dry, it'll bring out more and more of that. Kind of hard to tell. Now the question now, of course, is do I touch it some more or do I just leave it alone? The last one that we did, I ended up going over it a little bit more just to give it a bit more of a finish. But some of it was drier than other stuff. It didn't go very well that day either. And so we had dry spots in the concrete and wetter spots. And when I went over it, you could see some scratch marks on it. We're like, oh man, we made a mess. But those scratch marks actually ended up looking really nice. Once we epoxied it, they showed up. They were kind of like a black marks on it. And it really gave it a lot of character, which is nice. So all in all though, I guess you can see that. I think it's turned out very well. We still need to do the other ones, but I wanted to see how this turned out. Plus we ran out of cement powder. I thought we had enough, but there's not going to be enough to do all of it. I have enough to do probably part of this, maybe that little guy. So I'll pick up another bag of that tomorrow, and then we will tackle the rest of this countertops. I never showed you the form here. I finished this up, so we're going to leave the metal in. Some people might say that's a strange way of doing it. The reason is because we don't want the lip. When it's all said and done, we can now wipe the countertop right into the sink and not run into the lip. So we're going to try this, and if it doesn't work, that's okay. We've got a hole here for the plumbing. It's all covered off. This pipe will come out, and then we'll just have a hole in the concrete. And I've formed this up to match the contours of the sink. So that's ready to go. And this is our water dam. Once we pour concrete here, the concrete will go over. Any water that ends up coming through, this wood will come out, of course, it's a form board. Any water then comes between the sink and the concrete will hit this water dam and not be able to go onto the wood. Secondary line of defense, we will also be epoxying it and caulking it. We've got our line on the wall, ready to go for that. All the rebar is laid in. Again, as I said earlier, why not just buy countertop? Well, we didn't find anything here that we actually liked. They don't miter the corners that we've seen. They have a straight piece and a straight piece, and then this kind of trim that goes between the two straight pieces. We didn't like that at all. What we're familiar with, if you're watching from the West, I'm assuming you know. I don't know if they're all like that, but where we were in Canada, you can miter the corners. It means they're cut like this. Underneath the countertop, they're glued and they're clamped. And so you can buy them like that, or you can put it together yourself. A lot of times I just give the dimensions to the countertop people and they make it for me and have it tied together, and then I set it in. One this big, probably I would get in 2 pieces, one here, and I would put it together myself. And then, but you have a nice joint, and if it's done right, you can hardly even see it. You'll wipe right through. There's no height difference. It's just beautiful. So that reason, and then also this is an island, which would be a custom build anyway. It's fairly large, and we like the look of a concrete countertop, so it gives it a lot of character and a lot of appeal. Part of our rustic charm.
Very cool.
Mary, did you know?
That your baby boy would one day walk on water.
That your baby boy
Would one day walk on water. You got the high note, bud.
That's a little high.
That's a little high.
The child that you deliver will soon deliver you. Alright, I don't know if you got the beginning or not. Alright, Aaron here. Countryside. Oh my. She's gonna have to do some editing on this thing, I think. Papa's talking and making mistakes. Yeah.
Hey, darling, can I tell you what's been on my mind? Sick and tired of the 9 to 5 in the city life. Hey, darling, we could get out of town, see the beautiful world around, wanna see it now. Pack our bags and get in that car, leave a little note and we'll drive real far. Let's get